Hello, how you doing tonight? I'm just making a quick vid. I haven't made any vids for a while, and I apologize. I haven't put any new vids on the channel for a while. I've been real busy trying to finish up my studies, and I'm shooting for January 1st, bro. My last project is basically going through my notebooks and getting everything organized and getting all my procedures laid out and just refining so that when I start doing, I'm basically pulling myself out of the study and into actual doing, of audio engineering, music production, and things like that. And this has been going on for years. And I wanted to make a quick video because I went through there, and my channel, there's another channel that's Doc's Music Theory Lab, for teaching the basics and concepts of advanced music theory, that I think there's a link to on that channel there, Audio Engineering. But I wanted to address something really quick. I found out when I started going through all my notes that I had it all up in here really well, but I really started going through all the notes I kept during the studies, and this has been going on like 8 years or so, and it really was not well organized with good references. And my folders, there was a lot of things on there, but it really wasn't put that together as well as pretty sure it was in my head. So it's something I want to address really quick, because I'm not going to go through this notebook's actually going to turn into a book at some time, but there's a lot of references from on there. I had this notebook, and there was 150 notebooks in here. 150 notebooks, and each one of those notebooks had God knows how many other notebooks in them. Like if you look at the deal on DSP, all the other notebooks that are inside of it, that have information on them. There was 150 of them. I went through there. I got it down. You see, here's one. It goes to editing there, and then it goes to, that's 2 rows. It's down to about 48, maybe 50 notebooks, and they range anywhere between 50 other notebooks inside of them to less. There's a lot. The most of them are on my DSP sound, the basics of sound, how sound is constructed and information on it, and music, all kinds of stuff on music and music theory. And then basically some of the other bigger ones are processing, recording and mixing. They don't have that many notebooks inside of these one like this one, but the information took a lot longer to organize. So I basically wanted to point out one thing, is the importance of this. Some people may not think so, but it really is a good idea to go through this, because when I got done and I started going through this, I really started going through trying to basically make myself a reference and really writing things out about what I did understand. I downloaded a lot of stuff from the internet, from all kinds of things on the internet, for reference. And then I added to them, the things that I knew that weren't on there or that I wanted to add to it, for my own personal reference, or work I was doing in DSP, and things like that, or working on sound or sound sculpting or filtering, anything like that. So what I basically wanted to address is that every subject that you're dealing with, no matter how deep you get into it, it's a good idea to start making a reference. Like DSP here. I went through there and started out with general concepts of signal processing, glossaries that I'd put together, signal processing basics, what I thought was the most important things happening there, concepts of advanced signal processing as far as you got, the DSP itself, DAWs, scientific processors. I work with MATLAB sometimes. And then I just started going through the list of what all things that I really found important. And some of those things, there was a lot more than this to it, because I have some other notebooks, but a lot of these were the most important things. And all the notebooks were kind of the same that way. And the understanding of that is, as you go through that and you start listing that out, and you start digging around on the internet and you start branching out and building a notebook with references and digging around and investigating, getting reference material from different places, that you start finding links are a great example. link is like a word that triggers something. It's like, whoa, I didn't write nothing about that, bro. Maybe I should check that into that. And it just kind of branches out, you know, it just keeps branching out and branching out, to really refine, you know, your knowledge of what's happening, you know, and that's a huge thing that I wanted to address, because I've been going through my notebooks, and I'm down to, like I said, about 48 to 50 notebooks here, and I don't know, there might be 500 notebooks inside there or something like that. There's a lot of them, you know. I've been studying it for like 8 years. But, you know, simple things like editing. You know, I went through my editing processes, you know, and really went through just the procedure. You know, the procedures of what I do when I'm processing. And I spent a lot of time writing it out. And I found something, it was very strange, because I found myself not only going back and testing it, but then writing about it. And as I wrote about it, what I was doing and practicing going through the thing, then it caused me to branch out. And then it caused me to think about it. And then it caused me to start digging a little bit deeper and to question whether or not I was doing things as well as I could. And that was a huge thing, because basically all my stuff now is laid out. OneNote's just an example. This is OneNote. You could use any type of a notebook, but I like this one. It's great for that. And it's basically, I've laid out just about everything that I've found important in working in music production. You've got acoustics, the science of acoustics, and I've laid out most of the information there. Digital signal processing, analog signal processing, music theory, composition. Composition was a huge one. I started going through composition, and I realized that I hadn't laid things out as well as I could, you know, and I really hadn't spent nowhere near as much time. I got it all up here in my head, but I hadn't gone through it and started writing it out for myself, collecting references, and really organizing it like a library, you know, like a reference library that was complete, to where for the most part I don't need to get on the internet or go looking for nothing. Anything that I have questions about, or formulas, or anything, that I've got it all written out really well. It was a really mind-opening experience, because I went and had to start digging in my head about all the stuff that I read about, all the videos I watched, all the research I did, all the things I've done, and really start articulating it well in written out, how I see it, what I think about it, and then started trying to, it caused me to start refining it again, you know, and then I'd go, well, let me retest that. Wait a minute, do I actually do that, or do, you know, and it really, for some people, it may be a little bit too, you know, in line, you know, one step, next step, next step, but to be honest with you, that's a good thing. You know, sometimes it might be a little bit more time consuming, but you're a lot less likely to have headaches because you skipped a step, or you didn't do something properly, or you didn't think about something, because you've got everything well laid out in a notebook to pop up and go, this is my procedure. Bap, 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 bap. These are my references. I mean, like, if I'm going, just an example, like if I'm processing or something, and I come up to some part of processing, and I'm going to reference, like, I've got links to my other notebooks on some of them, you know, on some of them, like here, balance sheet. I've got a balance sheet when I start doubling tracks. That's a whole nother sheet that's for techniques of how I'm doing it. I mean, that's just a simple example. I mean, there's a lot of stuff like that. And it just, so that I can really got fast access to information, notebooks with links all over in it, going to all these links are going all over the place inside of my notebook. That way, if I got questions about something, I've got references, and I've got it written out everywhere, so where it's totally laid out to where it's all, my whole library is right here. And I know that might sound like a huge undertaking, because it is, but in the process, you're going to refine your knowledge, you're going to refine your abilities, you're going to start testing a lot more, you're going to start experimenting a lot more, you're going to start actually articulating your thought processes, which actually vocally articulating them and articulating them in words and writing them out really helps you work through them and fine-tune them and really see, how does it look? How does it look in my head? How does it look on paper? I mean, that doesn't look that good, bro. I really should work on that because that just sounds stupid, you know? I mean, that just sounds way too simple. It's like, I mean, there must be more, you know, and it just causes you to start digging a little bit more and get it laid out really well. I don't want this video to go on for hours and hours, but it's been going on for about 10 minutes now, and it's a huge thing because now almost every aspect of what I've been doing, I've still got about another 3 weeks before I'm completed with this, but I'm even like clicks and pops. I went through this, you know, and it was like just getting it laid out, getting it through my head. What exactly was I doing? Because I understand all the stuff and I understand what can happen and what was going on, but getting it all written out and laid out and organized with links going everywhere and you know, and references all over the place to where, you know, it was just, you know, it was laid out like some kind of NASA program, you know, and you know that, and really, you know, and that's the way I kind of tried to see it because it may seem like a little bit much, but it really helped to me to go through it and make it good and clean and organized and spend the time doing it. And that way that, you know, my production comes out like that. That my production comes out as clean and as organized and as well thought through as my procedure guides, my reference guides, my study material, links and other subjects that are related to it that may come up during a production that I've got links set right inside of the procedures just in case that issue comes up. And it was a mind-opening experience. It really was. Because this notebook, like I said, it had hundreds of notebooks in it, bro. And, you know, and there was like little bits and pieces all over the place, bro. Like and my head doesn't organize it that way. My head organizes it awesome, bro. And so it doesn't, you know, I've made a note about it and I started going through it and I was like, well, my mind isn't organized like that, bro. You know, and so I started thinking I need to get that as organized as my mind. And I started going through it. And it was a really cool experience. It was very helpful. It really helped me to really fine-tune all the things I really did understand, to re-question things that I had studied, that opened up some new doors that I hadn't really dug into, to refine all my knowledge, as far as getting, you know, it all written out in my procedures. And even, you know, just the basic knowledge base of, oh, whoa, wait a minute, what about that? Now that I'm writing this out, what about that? You know, I mean, and then it just got me thinking all the time, you know, about things other issues I needed to address. So I hope that wasn't too long, but I certainly hope that you can understand that and that makes sense because it was a huge thing. It was a huge, good experience. That really caused a lot of refinement in a lot of areas of my knowledge, of my wisdom of all these areas of acoustics, DSP, analog systems, sound itself, music theory, and all the other things that were related to it, working with audio engineering, music theory, music production, and digital signal processing, you know, and mixing and mastering and recording and those types of things. It was a huge deal. So I hope that kind of opens up a window that you can see that, because going through it for me, it really was, you know, laying things out, you know, and really just getting it just refined to where the references, just organizing the references and getting them all organized really caused me to go through and really refine everything about my studies, my knowledge base, my procedures, how I get things done, what was important, what things are really I need to focus on, and what things I really didn't have good references to that I may not be dealing with all the time, or things that I really should be really looking into. So I certainly hope that helped. I'm sorry I hadn't put a video on here for a while, but that's what I've been doing, and I'm going to be done at the first of the year. And I'm basically just trying to get this refined so that my library for my studies is a very functional, refined, well-organized library of all the things I've studied, all my procedures for any things I'm doing, from composing to teaching music to working with digital signal processing to teaching about sound or analyzing sound, and processing sound, and acoustics, you know, dealing with room acoustics, all those type of things, all the things that are interconnected between computers and converting, and formats. Formats was another one. When I started going through there, I started going through formatting, and really looking at it for the mastering process really caused me to really go back again and really refine my mastering process, because I found myself going, well, that really ain't going to do that, bro, and it really isn't doing that good a job, to where if I do it this way and I spend some more time on it, it's going to come out much better. It's a lot more time consuming, but, you know, I get a workflow going, and that will take care of itself, you know, as time goes by. But it really helped a lot, and it got me to the point to where, you know, it's something simple like my mastering. You know, one thing I hadn't done, or a couple things I hadn't done, that I just started to realize that there were things I needed to do just from going through and refining the library that I have of, you know, my signal processing libraries and things like that. So I hope that helps. I hadn't seen me for a while, but I thought I should address this because it was a huge thing. And it really was way more important than I thought. I always knew my studio is organized beyond comprehension, but there's sometimes I'll make notes about stuff and they just get slid off to the side, bro. And I'm like, I'm off in another direction, you know, doing something, you know. And it really was, you know, not really that good a habit. I wasn't spending enough time working on this to where it was a finished product. And that was my project, to get done by the first of the year so I can actually get doing, you know. So anyway, peace, hope, love. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I certainly hope that helps you to get in there, create a notebook and a library of your procedures and your references and sound and music and production and you know, and composing and all that kind of stuff, and really refine it really well so that it in itself is a work of art to help you create beautiful pieces of work and wonderful creations of art. Peace, hope, love. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you in the next one.